Okay.
Okay, welcome everyone. We'll get started with our committee meetings. It's 6:03 on April 28th. If we could please get started with rules, ethics, and ordinances.
Thank you. I'm assuming that we have our quorum. I don't have anything specifically to bring up in rules this evening, having just landed here back at home after 3 weeks. So I'll just throw it open first to the committee members to request whether any of you have anything to bring forward for tonight's meeting.
I do not.
Okay.
Rick, this is Tom. You know, I don't know if you got it, but Carol did send something out for rules. I don't know if you got it or haven't had time to look at it.
No.
Okay.
I have not seen it. There was something for rules. Is it in your email?
Yes.
Hold on. Let me
Yes.
look at my emails. I apologize. Hold on.
Chairman,
Yes.
it's for the Hall of Fame resident of the month of May, Brian Kelly.
Oh, I know Brian. Is that all there is?
That and the proposed revisions for Ordinance 29-2020. That's related to vehicles, junk vehicles, tractors, and trucks and trailers.
Mm-hmm.
I
Rich, did you put that together?
Yeah, we put it together. I think there's been changes. I don't have the changes with me even.
Okay, committee members, have you reviewed that?
This is Councilman Elliott. I have not reviewed that. And I apparently I missed Brian Kelly being the resident of the month, but I support that one 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, let me do this. Let me throw it open first to the remaining members of council. Does anyone wish to comment about Brian Kelly being appointed Citizen of the Month? If not, I'll make a motion.
I support that.
Okay? Not hearing any, I will make a motion to nominate and appoint Brian Kelly Citizen of the Month at the next upcoming meeting. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second that.
Second. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposition?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We'll report it out to council. How dramatic were the changes, Rich? Is it possible that we could vote this out on an agenda tonight and then have the entire council amend it after it makes the agenda if it needs anything further? 29, Ordinance 29.
Rick, this is Carol.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi. Welcome back.
Thank you.
The ordinance is on for second reading tonight. So
Oh.
I would suggest reading it tonight, and then it can always be amended for its third reading. It's a small amendment. It's in the email that I sent this afternoon.
I'm surprised. I'm apologizing for being so disjointed here. About 5 or 6 hours ago, I was in a bed connected to IVs, so I'm not quite there. Okay.
Chairman?
So we still have another meeting before we're going to vote on it.
We have another council meeting.
Right. So maybe what I'll do then, if the other two members are okay with it, is schedule it for a follow-up rules committee meeting? Or are you more comfortable with just reporting it out and let the rest of council debate it before the third reading? What's everybody's
Chairman?
pleasure? Yes.
Chairman?
Yes.
In related to junk vehicles, this is section 1143-A05. And what it's doing is removing the value of the vehicle to be removed. It's just taking that out of the ordinance. Yes.
Let me just page over to this. Hold on.
Okay. It's on page
I'm
3 of
sorry.
the ordinance, second paragraph.
2929.
We shouldn't be, assessing a value to any vehicle.
Rick, it's 1143-8.05. I got it on page 4 of 6.
Okay.
And it's got a blue line through the red strikeout, or a blue strikeout through the red addition.
Oh, is that the only change we're proposing then?
That's it.
Well, okay. Are the other two members of the committee okay with it? Remove that language?
I really want to take a look at Ordinance 29-2020, and I'm not in favor of Ordinance 27-2020 where it says expired or unlawful license plates. I think expired is extremely vague. I think we're opening up a can of worms on that one. I don't agree with expired. I think there should be a term like expired for how long. I mean, because right now, if you, as a police officer, I can drive around, there's expired tags everywhere because people can't get their tags. So you're opening up a can of worms when it just says expired. I'm all for unlawful license plates. I get that part, but expired license plates I think is extremely vague. I'm not even sure that would be legal.
Rich, what's your take on that?
Madam Chair, Mr. Chairman, this is the mayor.
Yeah.
I have the floor. One, I'd like to remind everyone we're on a teleconference, so it's important to meet the guidelines that we identify ourselves when we speak. So a little add that's a requirement due to we're not video conferencing. So once again, this is the mayor, and I'd like to speak to 27-2020. This is not imposing a new rule. What we are basically doing is allowing the building department to enforce the tags on cars that are in driveways. So currently it's codified that the police department have that jurisdiction. And the building department would identify a car that may have an expired tag in a driveway that hasn't moved for a while. Then they would notify the police department, and the police department would then give the building department the paperwork to cite that vehicle. What Ordinance 27-2020 is not a new law. It's basically codifying that the building department can cite an expired tag on a driveway without going to the police.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of that. I don't think the building department's not a law enforcement officer to hit a expired license plate. I'm not in favor of that at all. I'd like to really take a deeper look at that. That's the job of the police department, not the building department. And if the car's not moving and you have an expired tag, I think it's valid. This is Councilman Elliott, by the way.
This is the chairman. Here's my proposal. Due to the confusion, mostly caused by me, and the remaining questions, I propose this. Let's schedule a very short special rules committee for the next council meeting. In the meantime, anybody who has questions or other suggestions on this is free to speak with the law director. That's not a deliberation because he's not a member of the council or of this committee. And then whatever changes, if any, we want to propose, we could propose to be inserted at that next meeting.
Mr. Chairman, this is Mayor Bianciata.
Yeah.
I'd respectfully request that Ordinance 27-2020 be brought up in the next safety meeting because this was a request of our police department.
Oh,
okay.
Well, how come it's in my committee?
It's not.
Is it in my committee?
It's not in your committee that I'm aware of.
Okay. Well, that's Stacy's call.
That's fine. We can do it, but this was in your folder. That's not a problem.
Okay.
We're going to have a special meeting. I'm assuming 5th. We can add that to the agenda and also make it a rules and ethics. We could add that to the meeting as well.
Let's do that.
Okay, with that,
We want, yeah, it sounds to me like everything is pretty close with a couple of, like this big issue. But if we can get to the point where we have enough votes to get it on the agenda, we could amend it, waiving the 24-hour rule and just pass the thing that evening. I should say the things because we're talking about 29 as well. So I will make a motion. Stacy, give me that date again.
the date? Oh, May
Yeah.
5th. May 5th. May 5th.
Thanks. So we're talking about having a combined rules and safety meeting?
Rules and finance.
Rules and finance. Okay, let's not go into safety?
That's fine, Mr. Chairman. This is the Mayor Biasi. That's fine with me. I'll make arrangements for Chief Saloom to be at the next rules meeting if that's the venue. This is going to be
Okay.
discussed. Then.
I'll make a motion to set a special rules committee.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes?
this is Police
Yes.
Chief Mike Saloom. I can also answer any question right now.
Well, it sounds like there's a big question that Pat has.
Okay.
Whether
Hi,
this
Chief.
is a law enforcement
Councilman
issue.
Elliott.
Go ahead,
Hi.
Councilman.
I guess my concern is this. This is Councilman Elliott. Chief, just hypothetically, if we have the building department walking around looking for expired tags in driveways, how are they allowed to cite for that? I don't understand that one because that's a law enforcement duty. And, are we going to get into citing people that have their plates expired for a week? They might be out of town. And then they're going to get a notice that their vehicle's parked in their own driveway with an expired tag. It shouldn't be up to the building department to enforce the laws on I don't agree with that one at all. I mean, if I get it, if it's expired for a long period of time, 6 months, a year, that might be something I would agree with as far as that. But what is
Or is it that, this is the
what's the
chairman.
problem with the
Or is
way
it-
it's done now? I'm sorry.
This is no, that's all right. I stepped on you. This is the chairman. Or is it that it's not so much whether the tag has expired, but the vehicle is located outside of the building in a driveway, which on its face has an expired tag. So are you enforcing the expired tag, or are you instead enforcing putting the vehicle out in the open with that expired tag? I can see that distinction there.
Yeah,
Chairman Norman Martin. Go ahead.
Thank you. This is Chief Saloom. So, the reason this was brought up in the first place is all these laws are doing is mirroring what's already on the books in the 300 section. The building department goes out on a lot of complaints. They are not enforcing the expired tag. They have no authority to. What they're doing is enforcing a vehicle without current registration parked on the property that's visible from the street. So they don't have any authority saying, hey, your tag's expired. They're saying you're parking a vehicle that has expired plates on the property.
That's
They're
how
not
I take it.
enforcing the expired tag. Councilman Elliott, you're right. They're not law enforcement officers. That's not what they're enforcing. They're just enforcing that, hey, you got a vehicle, whether it has no plate or an expired plate, they're just enforcing a quote-unquote junk vehicle or a vehicle not up to standards to be parked in a yard. That's what they're doing. And they're already usually at the house on several complaints. So this was also done to streamline operations, to make things clear. If they're already out there, they're looking at it, they're following up on complaints. The police can go and enforce that today if the tag's expired for 1 day. That's not the issue. To answer another question you had, Councilman Elliott, and with the whole COVID thing, there's a grace period right now if someone has expired tags, even on the road. So that doesn't come into play. But I know you know
Right,
that as well.
Yeah, I also believe, Chief, this Councilman Elliott, that if you have an expired tag and you're in your driveway, I don't think you can enforce it as long as the car's not moving.
Chairman? You're not right. Again, you're not writing them. This is Chief Saloom. You're not writing them for the expired tag. You're writing them for parking a vehicle that has expired tags. That's the difference.
Okay.
You're correct,
gotcha.
but you're enforcing
I
the
got
vehicle,
I
not the tag.
understand.
Okay.
Okay.
Chairman Norman Martin. Chairman again. Does are we satisfied with that answer, or do we want to still schedule
This is Mayor Biassiata. Councilman Martin would like the floor, Chairman.
Yes.
Well, thank you. I think if you review a nuisance abatement procedures in neighboring communities and throughout Ohio, you'll see it's very consistent about unlicensed and unregistered vehicles as a nuisance abatement process. And I think we're going to be consistent with that as well.
Okay. So Norm is a yes, I assume.
This is Councilman Lipsky, and I'm on the committee, so on the rules committee anyway. We absolutely need this. We've needed it for a long time. I started pushing something about this about 2 years ago, where there always seemed to be a disconnect between building and police, and I understood it. But we absolutely need this because we have an issue in this town with people that have late model vehicles. They're not junk, okay, with expired plates that haven't moved for an exceptionally long period of time, and they're a nuisance for their immediate neighbors. We absolutely need these ordinances. The only thing, and I just read through it again fairly quickly. The only thing that I have a concern with, and it may be, maybe Chief, you can address this real quick. In one of these ordinances, and I'm not even sure which one at this moment, but where you're storing a vehicle, a collectible vehicle, and you're not storing it in a garage. I know of a couple people in town that have them under custom-made tarps, and they're not in the garage. Would they be in trouble for having an expired plate on that vehicle, even though you can't actually see the vehicle because it's under a tarp? That's it. Thank you.
Councilman Schnipsky, this is Councilman Elliott. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And yes, it would, because it says expired, and that's what I'm looking at. And maybe we can to look at this again, because there are a lot of people with, like you said, they're not junk vehicles. They're building them, and just because a few people might not like how they build a car, I mean, these people don't have plates for them because they're not going to hit the road. So they're obviously not going to have plates, or they're going to have expired plates because they're an older model vehicle, a historic vehicle, So my neighbor has one, and he pushes it out every year, and he works on it every year. So when he pushes it out into his driveway to work on it, is he going to get cited because the tags are expired on it? He's not going to drive it down the street. I understand the junk vehicles. I understand vehicles parked on grass. I understand vehicles parked in, different ways. But when it says expired, it means an expired tag. It could be one day, and if your neighbor doesn't like you, he's calling the police on you or calling the building department. I just hate to see people get cited for stuff like that.
Okay, this is the chairman again. Somebody's phone's ringing. No? Let me make that same motion again. I think there's enough question here for us to go through one more time, run a couple things by the law director as well and the chief. So with that, I make a motion that we schedule a Rules and Finance Committee meeting for May 5th to discuss the finalization of this ordinance and such other business that would come before that committee. Is there a second?
I'll second it, Councilman Elliott. I will second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposition? Motion carries. Okay. Anything else for the committee from the members? Anything else from the committee from the rest of council?
Chairman?
Okay. Yes.
Kelly? Just to be clear, Ordinance 27 and 29?
I don't see why not. I think we could probably talk about both.
Okay.
Why not?
So are we going to table them until May 5th?
No, I'm not saying table them. I'm saying discuss them at May 5th, then make a decision because they're going to be on an agenda. Make a decision at that point. Are you happy with it as is? Do you think there should be a change made? Do you think it should be tabled? What do you want to do? But I would not make a final decision about tabling or anything like that until after that committee meeting.
Yeah, no, I just noticed
sorry.
they were, so we're good.
Okay. So with that, I'll make a motion to adjourn the Rules Committee.
Second, Councilman Elliott.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, everybody. Sorry, this coughing actually is expected. It comes from the surgery. So, but I apologize for it. Okay, thanks, everybody.
Chairman, if we can move on to Parks.
Chairwoman Norman Martin, Parks and Rec, at 6:24 p.m. Two items. The first one is West Creek Conservancy had a request for us to review regarding the establishment of obtaining some parcels and for a planned walking path. And I believe you, Chairman, you wanted that brought before us in Parks and Rec to determine whether or not it should move on for additional action. And of the other two members, is there any comments regarding that topic?
This is Stacy Kelly. A while back, the mayor and I did meet with Jeffrey Leonard of Creek Conservancy, and he had mentioned to us at the time that there are several parcels west Crossview where homeowners are looking to possibly sell their land. West Creek approached us and wanted to bring it to council to see if we as a city would be interested in obtaining these parcels to create a green space within our city and have a walking path behind these parcels. Now, let me just be here a minute. I want to get my notes here so I can be clear. I'm not sure the value of the properties. Mayor, do you know the current value of the property that West Creek is speaking of?
No, I just know that there are multiple parcels, and only a couple are on the market now. So this would be a really long-term proposition. For those, this is Mayor Biassiata. For those on council and those listening at home, the parcels would run south of Rockside Road, starting from the creek that's just east of the Stone Ridge condominiums, and run through the backyards of all the existing houses all the way to Crossview. It's a heavily wooded, beautiful area, untouched right now. But I just want to point out that West Creek is not offering any money towards the project. This would be solely a project financed by the city of Seven Hills and involves at least a dozen, if not more, parcels. So we'd be talking easily $1 million, if not $2 million, in my gross approximation. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mayor. I did receive an email from Mr. Leonard who stated that if the city was interested, potentially he could secure financing through other agencies. However, I am all about green space, and I love the idea of another park, but I don't know if this is proper timing. If I make a decision right now, I wouldn't say no, not now. I don't think this is something that we, the city, should be taking on at this point.
Council President, this is Councilman Elliott.
Councilman.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think with the state of the country and the city and where we stand right now, I don't think there's any way we can do this. And I mean, I like having parks too, but the ones we have now, we're not doing a great job of taking care of with funds. and those funds may run out for those parks. So I'm not for this at all. I don't even think, I think this is something, if West Creek's interested in it, they can attempt to purchase it themselves and carry it on.
I would
President Martin.
Go ahead. I'm
Understand. I am not in favor of the activity at this time. What's the best approach to remove this from our folder?
You can make a motion, or if it, like, you know, if we don't have the support, it just dies in committee.
Okay, I can make a motion to. I can make a positive motion that can be voted down, right? Would that be appropriate?
Yeah,
In other words, a motion to.
Mr.
approve.
Chairman, this is the mayor. Yeah,
Yes.
the motion will always be in the positive, and based upon the, so you'll make a motion to pass this through the committee, and based upon the comments we've just heard, that probably won't happen, and then that'll be it, because the motion does not move forward through, for, you know, lack of a second. And that's
right.
what you put in your meeting minutes, and that's this business is finished before your committee.
Okay, then a motion to approve the requested funding of obtaining parcels on Rockside Road for, as per the request, West Creek Conservancy. Is there a second? Okay, lack of a second, the resolution dies. Okay, next topic.
If I may, this is Councilman Snitsky. Norm, can I jump in here 1 second, please?
Yes, you may.
The only thing I would say on that one is that, you know, and I don't know how hard we're closing the door on this thing. If West Creek wants to come through with some money and some viable plan.
Madam Chair, can I call a point of order?
Go ahead. What's your point of order?
We just voted this thing dead, so there's no business talking about it at this time.
Okay, that's appropriate. All right, thank you, Tom, for your comments. We'll move on. The next item I had was Jen Berger provided everyone her report for the activities. Jen, if you're online, would you mind to expand upon all your efforts that your busy crew has been doing to help preserve the rec center and other things in this time of turmoil?
Sure. We've had a very limited staff and crew coming in, rotating shifts, no more than 10 people in the building at a time, very spread out. Basically what we've done is we've taken our September shutdown and we moved it up to April. So we replaced pumps, a pool pump. We did some painting, lots of painting, some repairs.
Some of the microphones on.
Can you hear it?
Please turn off your microphone if you're not speaking.
Is your mic off?
There you go. That's better. So we've done basically everything we would normally do in the fall for our shutdown, and we've just moved it up. We've worked with several contractors. We've done the beloved high dusting of the recreation center, which has been much needed for a long time. We quoted it out and found a good company to come in and be very helpful with that. So we're continuing, and then the most important thing that I think we're doing is just reaching out to some of our more frequent members that are usually there earlier in the day, some of our senior members, just checking in on everybody, making sure they're doing good. And we're just waiting for governor's orders on when it'll be safe to reopen.
Any additional comments from members of the committee?
Nothing, thank you. This is Councilwoman Stacy Kelly.
Pat?
I'm good. Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional comments from members of council or mayor?
This is Mayor Biassiata. May I briefly have the floor?
Please.
Thank you. This will go along with Ordinance 31/2020. It's for first reading tonight. I'd like the Parks Committee to explore creating a park out of the city-owned parcel at Hillside in Broadview. Today it's just a city-owned park property. Designating it a park will help us with grants, donations, and other things as we continue our efforts to beautify that corner. Also like this, if this committee is so moved down the road to declare that a park, to undertake a process of giving it an appropriate name. And there's not a rush on that, but I'd like the future Parks Committee to look into this feasibility. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay. Any other comments from members of council?
No, Chairman.
No, Chairman. Okay, hearing none, we'll adjourn Parks and Rec at 6:35. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman. Moving on to Planning Committee.
Hi, this is Tom Snitsky, Committee Chairman of Planning, Zoning, Building, and Economic Development. The only thing that I have in my folder is, let me get it open here. Is a proposal that looks like it came from the mayor's office, I believe, to bring in Safe Built as our basically our building commissioner for the next year at least. And there's a whole list of services to be rendered here. If anybody in the administration would like to speak to this, I think that would be appropriate.
Sure.
Go ahead, Mayor.
This is Mayor Biassiata. I had intent to introduce this topic into finance, so I didn't have my minorly surprised.
I'm sorry, Mayor. It was in my folder for planning, zoning, building, and economic development. But if you want to hold off till finance, I have no problem with that as long as I can.
No, I'm fine, one way or the other. I'm ready. Yes, I'd like to speak to this. We've had a resignation of our building commissioner. Okay, this role has been historically incredibly hard to fill. Currently, it was filled by two people, two retirees, to secure the necessary certifications that the state requires, Mr. Haupt and Mr. Vitardi. Okay, and what I want to introduce for the discussion is the possibility of outsourcing just the chief building officer role, which is the building commissioner, not the department. We would still have our inspectors, we'd still have our clericals. But with the possibility of outsourcing to Safe Built, we accomplish a couple different things. We ensure that we always have all our certifications met. We ensure we'll always have updated software. We do not have updated software now. If we go with Safe Built for the chief building officer, they throw in their software called Community Core. And of course, I'm not looking for a decision today. I want to introduce the idea to council to see if there's support in researching this, and then representatives from council can meet with the vendor. And let me keep going on other things that they supply their own vehicle, they supply their own training, they pay their own vacation/PTO, they pay their benefits, they bring their own software. This is also a firm that we're talking about for some time, bringing on extra capacity for plan review as things heated up with Rockside and Meyer. So it was something that we were talking about bringing on for a temporary additional capacity so that we wouldn't have to hire people during a busy building season and then lay them off at a later time. We were going to look to bring this group on, if council was so approved, on a temporary basis to add bandwidth to the department. But with the resignation, I think there's an opportunity to gain synergies here. The chief building also will be certified for plan review. There's a potential for savings. Right now we outsource our plan review to a company called Fixmo. And there's a lot of other ancillary benefits, and we're not going to get to them all today. I just wanted to introduce the topic and see if this was something council felt was worth investigating. Okay, handful of cities in our area do use this. Cleveland Heights, Maple Heights, Bedford Heights, Solon, a few others, North Royalton. And I can provide a complete list if we're going to go down this path. But, so they're modern software, always making sure we have certifications. They provide coverage when the person takes time off, so we don't have that issue during a busy part. And I'd like to, if council wants, we can bring in the vendor for a Q&A. We can bring in the vendor for a demo of the software that they bring as part of the package. And it'll allow my finance department to do some cost-benefit analysis to provide you all. One thing I want, the food for thought, is that the potential contract does have a 30-day out clause. So even if it wasn't council's appetite for this to be a long-term solution, it can be a short-term while we do an extensive job search. The last time this position was posted, we had one applicant. So I think we have an opportunity here to explore a new option. That's all. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Does anybody else on the committee, Mr. Phil and Mr. Delaquilla, do either of you have anything to say on the subject? Did you get to review it at all?
No, I just forwarded it. I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman. This is Mayor Biassiata. I just sent this over today, so no one's really had an opportunity. I just kind of want to get a flavor if this was something that we want to perform a deeper dive on. That's all the guidance I was looking for today.
Mr. Mayor, this is Tom again. They also got a copy of it when I got it. So if they've had a chance to look at it, I just wanted to hear their opinion. If they didn't, I didn't get it till like 4 o'clock. So if they have had a chance to look at it, they have any input, I'd like to give the committee an opportunity. Bill, Richard, anything?
Yeah, this is Councilman Kuriazis. I did read over it. I think I received it around 4:30. I looked over it. It looks like a pretty good idea from just looking at it. I think it'll save the city money, and we won't have to worry about the software, all the certifications and everything. So I'm for looking into it further and going from there. That's all I have.
And this is Rick. We have had, as the mayor just said, we've had a problem filling this position going back to the time of Mark Morrow. And everybody knows that history. The salary does not attract the kind of personnel that is commensurate with the job requirements. Young people don't go into this field for some reason. probably money. And I'm aware of this firm. We had considered them at least a couple of times, but we were always fortunate enough to find an individual willing to serve. That may no longer be the case. So I would be willing to look into it further, maybe with the proviso that we also put an advertisement out there that we're looking for a building commissioner just to incentivize the competition to try to drive down the cost. Even if we make the decision to go with this firm, the fact that we may stumble upon somebody willing to do the job could save us money. So I'm okay with going forward.
Mr. Chairman, this is Mayor Biassiata. May I speak?
Go ahead, Mayor.
I think Councilman Delacola's point is well taken, and that we could simultaneously put together an extensive job search. Similar to what we did the finance director, I went to a lot of trade sites, not just the newspaper, and I opened it up to search to a lot of avenues that maybe we haven't in the past, and potentially we could get lucky, and like you said, let's see what it fetches. But in the short term, while we're doing a deeper dive on hiring an internal building commissioner, this could be our answer so that we don't lose speed on any of our other initiatives, so that we bring them in knowing that we can end the contract on any given month. I would like to point out that we have a significant salary range gap between our neighbors, between what our range is and what everyone else pays for here. And I've already reached out to members of the building trades, and maybe notwithstanding the economic downfall brought on by the pandemic, there's not many people going into this field now because we have electrical certification, plumbing certification, and there's about 7 other that are required. They're making double, if not triple, in the private. At least they were probably prior to the downturn. And when I reached out to the various trades, they did not have any referrals for me. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You're welcome, Mayor. Thank you for your input. Thanks for the input for the committee. I'd like to make a motion to move this out of committee and move it on down the road to council. Is there a second?
I think, Chairman, this is Mayor Biassiata. I believe Councilman Martin requested the floor.
Oh, I'm sorry. I forgot to open it up to the rest of council. Does anybody else in the rest of council have any comment?
Councilman Elliott.
Councilman Martin. I think he was already in line.
Thank you. I will say I used to work for Ohio Department of Commerce with the Board of Building Standards and did a lot of activity with them for training related to, elevator activities and building systems. And so I ran into a lot of third-party building officials that were doing the private work throughout Ohio. And so it's a well-established practice and certainly does fit a nice role for a smaller community like ours. And I would certainly recommend heading down that path and determining how it will fit for us. It certainly works in many areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Martin. Councilman Elliott, floor is yours.
Yeah, I'd like to say that I have actually looked into Safe Built, so I'm really happy that we're discussing that now. With Rockside Road looming here, their resources will probably put it over the top here for us, I think. And it'll make it easier on the entire city by going with the company instead of us trying to find someone that I honestly I don't think it's a job for 1 or 2 people. I think the resources of this company is going to go a long ways in helping us through it. I don't think people understand how big this project's going to be, and I'm glad the mayor is actually looking into this. So I'm all for it. It's a great idea.
All right, thank you, Councilman Elliott. Anybody on council have a comment still?
Chairman, this is Council President Stacy Kelly.
Go ahead, Stacy.
Thank you. I would have to agree with the mayor's assessment here. I definitely want to take a look at this company. But I would also like to see, as he mentioned, providing a cost comparative analysis between in-house versus outsourcing. I would also hopefully like to see active recruitment of a full-time building commissioner so we have something to compare it to. Just to see kind of like what Councilman Delaquila said, to see what's out there and, you know, make a comparison in between the two. But I'm definitely, I'm all for hearing it, no doubt about it. It sounds like a good plan so far. Thank you, Councilman.
All right, thank you, Councilman Stacy. Kelly, anybody else?
Yeah, this is Councilman Cooley. Just a
Sure.
question to the Mayor Biassiato. Will there be like several people available to do that job, Mayor?
Councilman Cooley, there'll be one main person assigned, but they have a whole team of chief building officers. So they provide the backup if that person were to leave or go on vacation or get sick.
Okay.
Also, one of the benefits of going to here, and this is kind of why it was, this didn't just come out of the blue.
Right.
I had been in negotiations to bring something to council with this company. I was just waiting for the project, Rockside, to get in the ground. And it was going to, instead of bringing on additional resources, I was going to utilize this company, you know, for the 3-year construction build period to make sure everything went smooth. And that was also going to keep our current staff freed up to do the things they need to do, the you know, forthcoming rental inspections, property maintenance, et cetera, that they're doing today. And I didn't. That was the idea there. Now, in terms of others, as the need grows, so right now we have a contract that will provide someone there 4 days a week, 32 hours. Okay. And that person also certified in plan review. To the extent that they have time during their regular workday, they can do plan review for projects on our clock without needing to do extra expense. Now, when we do get into a hot and heavy build session, they could bring in-house more building officers that have credentials for plan review. So we wouldn't have to outsource it. It would mean additional hours at that point. But when those plan reviews are finished, those additional hours would go away and we'd go back to our base at 32. So there's synergy
and that was
that the outsourcing company for plan review would already be our in-house chief building officer. But we would not have to go looking for additional help when that time came. It's inherent in the contract that it's scalable.
Okay, and that was kind of my question in case, like, you know, Rockside Road gets hot and heavy and one person isn't able to manage that, there would be an option for multiple people.
Yes, Councilman Kuehlen, this is Mayor Biassiata. That was part of what makes this ideal for our situation at the moment.
Okay, great.
So, this is Mayor Biassiata again. It sounds like there's general support to continue doing due diligence. I'll share all my contact information with all the council, and feel free to perform your due diligence. Over the next week or so, I'm going to put together what our costs are today, okay, for that cost comparison, and share that with council as well. Because there's things you'll factor in, the salary of a building commissioner, the PRS, healthcare, vehicle costs, the outsourcing of plan review, and there's some other things. And I'd also throw into that comparison the cost of software, because we're using very outdated software. And then we'll know. There may be some incremental cost. Maybe there won't. But since the position's open, I wanted to get the discussion going sooner as opposed to later.
All right, thank you, Mayor. This is Councilman Snitsky.
Councilman Snitsky, would it be advisable at this point to make a motion
That's what I'm going to do,
Put this
sir.
on an agenda, knowing that we will also advertise the position, like the council president and council Kula recommended, and we will also prepare cost-benefit analysis over the next week.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to my committee to move it on to council. Is there a second?
Second, Councilman Curriasis.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, we're moving this particular item on to full council. I don't have anything else in my folder for planning, zoning, building, and economic development. If anybody in the administration would like to give any type of an update on what's going on with capital projects in the city, they may do so now if they want. If not, I will end up calling the committee closed.
Councilman Snitsky, this is Engineer Collins.
All right. Hello, Daniel. How you doing?
Not too bad, sir. Not too bad. Just a quick update on Meyer. Myers has right now a foundation permit to start digging their foundation for the building. They are very near site plan improvement. There's just a couple comments that the Myers design consultant is working through with the Cuyahoga Soil and Water Conservation District. I can't see why this can't be resolved this week. Okay, so once that's resolved, I have pretty much reviewed my second review of the plans, and we should be good to go. At the same time, the traffic signal that's going to be bid out by my department, by of course the city of Seven Hills, is in line, and we're just waiting for a little last minute hiccup with the legal description that we had an inconsistency of with the property across the street on Parma side. Our law department's working with Parma's law department on getting that resolved, and I believe as of yesterday, I believe that it is resolved. Parma's law director is recording some documents with the county, and I think we have all the revised information we need to get that recorded. Once that's recorded is then when I'm authorized to advertise the traffic signal to be publicly bid. And my documents are done. I'm just waiting for that go-ahead. Other than that, I was going to state in my engineer's report, but perhaps I'll bring it up now, is that I had a pre-construction meeting last week with Broadview Heights. Sprague Road's going to be commencing construction mid-May to the end of May. Okay, there's going to be a local traffic-only detour route. They're just trying to keep traffic off that road, even though traffic is down a little bit now with the pandemic. It's really only for local traffic. They're probably not going to police it that that through traffic ain't going to happen. But it's a detour utilizing Wallings Road. Okay, it's not going to be. We're not directing traffic in Seven Hills. We're actually keeping it in Broadview Heights, and that's just going to be a detour for probably about a week and a half, 2 weeks, while the road cures after the single-pass asphalt recycling. But again, so probably by the end of May is when you're going to start seeing construction crews out there. Contractors going to be hand-delivering notices to both property owners in Broadview Heights and in Seven Hills. And I'm directly involved with this on a day-to-day basis. So that pretty much summarizes in a nutshell, Councilman. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Engineer Collins. Anybody else in the administration want to speak to PZ, B, and E issues? Engineer Collins, do you want to at this time give an update on the status for the Hemlock people as far as the Board of Health is concerned with their order letters going out or not going out?
Sure, Councilman. Yes. This information I'm just going to summarize for you is available, of course, on the city's website under the engineering department section. But the Board of Health is, for the time being, laxing their 6-month requirement letters due to the government orders. After May 4th is when the Board of Health may start sending those letters out. They're not going to be doing this immediately. As everyone knows, the county Board of Health throughout Ohio are going to be very busy in the next probably 6 months to a year as we make this transition into new regulations and all. not that they're ignoring this, but, you know, the residents are being a little, I guess it's helpful to the residents, the ones that aren't eager to tie in right away, because the 6-month letters probably won't be sent out realistically. I would imagine at the middle to end of May at the earliest is when those letters will be sent out. That letter will be their official letter that states that they have 6 months to make the tie-in and abandon their septic systems. Okay, and then, of course, there is a system in place that they have. They follow Ohio law. If a resident does not connect in that 6-month time frame, they're sent then a series of upcoming letters up until the 12-month period. And I understand the 12-month period is when they're sent to court. That's all, Councilman. Thank you.
All right, I know there has been some delays. I know there's been some delays because of the COVID-19 thing, and I just wanted to get it out there for people. You and I have been getting a lot of calls about it, and if somebody's listening, at least we clarified it for them. With that being said, unless there's any other business for this committee, I will call the committee to a close at 6:59. Can I get a second?
Second, Councilman Curriasis.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, PZB&E is out at 6:59. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Councilman Snitsky. This is Council President Stacy Kelly. I'm moving on to Finance at 6:59. I have a couple of things here to address. I have three moral claims in my folder. And I did have a chance to review them and all the attachments, and they were also forwarded to the members of the Finance Committee. However, given the language stated in our ordinance related to moral claims, I believe that our residents do have a right to be heard and should be present to address council in relation to these claims. So I would like to ask my committee members if they are willing to perhaps, I hate to have our residents wait any longer to be heard on their claims, but I also want to be reasonable and let them have time to appear before council to discuss claims. So I would like your opinion to see if we should table these claims until the COVID restrictions are relaxed and they can come to our meeting to present their claim.
This is Rick Delaquila. I don't have a problem with proceeding that way. The only thing I might suggest, is there a way for the residents to appear by phone before the committee? Electronically in some way?
Other than the way we're doing it now, I don't know of another way.
Okay.
Council President?
Well, I support your idea.
Councilman Martin?
Yeah, thank you. My suggestion would be have them appear on telephone by utilizing a waiver of their right to appear in person, if they want.
Acceptable to the committee members?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'll go ahead and do that this week, see if they're available, and we'll move forward with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
The only other thing in my folder is in relation to the candidate for finance. I spoke with the candidate, and I'm ready to move forward.
I have not spoken with the candidate, but I am satisfied with his qualifications, his background, and what I know about him in terms of his education. So I also...
Okay.
Madam
great.
President, Madam President, is Mayor Biassiata?
Yes, Mayor, please.
Appreciative that you're all ready to move forward. I just wanted to make the council as a whole aware that the candidate is available to join us for an executive session if there are questions, if people do have questions.
Okay. Okay, we can move forward then. If there's no further questions, I'd like to make a motion to have the candidate placed on the agenda for consideration for appointment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Are there any questions or concerns from the finance department regarding anything? Any questions from the remainder of council? Any questions from the administration?
Yes, Madam President, this is Mayor Bianciata. I'll be asking for confirmation for the finance candidate this evening. Number two, I'd like to present before the Finance Committee for a vote for the next council meeting for a resolution carrying over, if he's approved, the finance director candidate 4 weeks of vacation. This is consistent what we've done with for other directors and most recently the fire chief. This will be the only ask of council as the terms so far discussed are within the current salary range and benefit package. So if I can get a motion for and a transmittal for that for a council meeting 2 weeks down the road.
Okay. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda 4 weeks, providing that the finance director is approved or confirmed. A resolution of 4 weeks vacation for the upon confirmation of the new finance director. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Two small items for executive, both are pending litigation, and I'll be brief.
Okay. Okay, we'll make a motion to go into executive session. I need everyone to sound off. Councilman Kyriazis. But first of all, this is for pending litigation.
I believe the motion. This is Richard Delaquila. I believe the motion is made inside the finance committee, not council as a whole.
I'm sorry. Correct. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, you're good. You're good for exec.
Yes.
Councilman Martin.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I believe we were given a separate number to call in for executive session.
That's correct. If you guys want to, if you want to just remain on this call, are you going to come back to it and then adjourn and go to council, or? Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're just going to shut off the audio, and we're going to mute these lines, and then if somebody just wants to text me when you guys are done with the executive, you don't have to call in the other number at this time. We've turned off the recording, and I'm just muting all this. Okay, Todd, come back 1 second. It's muted. Okay, hold on 1 second, we'll get Todd right back here. Hold on 1 second, we'll put it back on.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, Todd, if you can put it back on recording so that they can all vote. They have to have it to vote to go in. So can you put it back on so it's live?
Director Berger, did we capture the vote to go into executive?
I don't think anybody.
I don't
think
Council President had pulled Finance Committee and all 3 members voted yea to go in.
Yes, we got
If
that.
that's
part.
not,
Guys,
I
going
believe
in-
so.
You're going into executive.
We're going into exec. We're going to call in the other number, and when we adjourn exec, we'll come back on to the original call and adjourn that meeting. So You with us, Director Berger, on that direction?
Yes, I'm gonna,
Hello? Stacy?
yes, that's what he wants you to do, that's fine. So then everybody needs to keep your emails, open, because I'm gonna have to, send out another call so that everybody can hear, everybody can come back onto a, committee meeting call. Yes. Unless do you guys wanna come, I thought you were gonna do this during council, I'm sorry. Everybody can just call back under the council meeting phone number. So call back during the green council meeting phone number when you call back. Yes, and then, correct. And then somebody just text me whenever that meeting's done, and then we'll give instructions from there. So everybody can hang up from this call. Thank you. Bye-bye. Okay. Right. Okay, so we should be good. committees.
Okay. This is Chairman of Finance, Stacy Kelly. I'm re-adjourning Finance at 8:01 p.m. If there's no further comments for Finance, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn. Any further comments from the committee?
None.
None.
Council?
Second motion.
Administration?
We're good.
Okay. We're adjourning Finance at 8:02 p.m.
Okay, go ahead, Todd.